Right now on Denver 7 News at 7 o'clock on Local 3, 5 adults found dead in a Commerce City apartment. Meanwhile, a baby and another woman inside made it out alive. Now neighbors are trying to process what happened.
I don't really know what's going on, but it's very sad and very disturbing.
We have team coverage this morning with what the early investigation points to as the cause.
3 Colorado Olympians are bringing some hardware home. But our state's most famous competitor, Mikaela Shiffrin, is leaving Beijing empty-handed.
Some days you lose and some days you win. And you can go through all that and have the most turbulent times and still rise again tomorrow.
The 6-time world champion is revealing what's keeping her going.
Also, snow and a big temperature drop is coming for the metro. It is a Denver 7 weather action day as we track the changing winter conditions. And it looks like Lisa has a few numbers missing from her 7-day forecast, but that's how cold it's going to be. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Micah Smith. We want to get right to our Denver 7 weather action day. Check out Futurecast. Snow moving in from the mountains to the metro over the next few days. Let's bring in meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo. Lisa, the real story here in the metro today, again, is that cold that's moving in.
Yeah, that front's going to hit this afternoon, so it's going to move in from the north. The winds are going to shift. Right now, it's really pretty. We had a gorgeous sunrise, and from City Park, you can see how much of that snow melted off this weekend. Highs yesterday were in the low to mid 60s. Today, still fairly mild. We're going to hit a high of about 50 degrees here between about noon and 1, and then it's going to get colder from there. Once that front starts to push in from the north, we're going to see the winds pick up, and we'll see even a little light snow develop tonight. Snow, though, today for the most part is going to be in the mountains, right in through the central mountains, and then stretching east, we'll start to see some of that snowfall. So by early afternoon, as folks are heading back from the high country, that drive on I-70 is going to get a little bit trickier. Tomorrow morning, we're waking up not only to some light snow on the ground, about a ½ inch to an inch, but then single-digit lows. And yeah, Brian's right. We're missing a few numbers on that wake-up forecast. Highs tomorrow only in the teens, and it's going to stay this cold, it looks like, through early Thursday. We'll take a closer look at just how cold it's going to get Wednesday morning, coming up, Katie, in a few minutes.
Some much different conditions on the way. Thank you, Lisa. In terms of real conditions here across the metro, we're dry, but we have a report of a rollover crash on I-25 northbound, just approaching 58th Avenue. You can see some of that stop-and-go traffic. Currently, 3 left-hand lanes are blocked, and let me show you that on the map. Right now, it is quite a bit of a delay. 15 minutes it'll take you to get past this accident. So you're seeing that stop-and-go traffic all the way back to I-70, but that's the biggest issue on our highways right now. It's a 40-minute drive, clocking in northbound I-25 from Colfax all the way up to Northwest Parkway, southbound running just fine. Starting to see a little slowdown on 270, lighter than usual at this time in the morning because it's President's Day, and then down south from C470 to Colfax and north and southbound, just about 14 minutes at this hour. No problems into the high country right now. Wide open roads on I-70. We'll keep you posted on how it develops, though, through the morning.
All right, thank you, Katie. To stay ahead of the next winter storm coming our way, download the free Denver 7 Plus app for both your cell phone and streaming device. We have a 24/7 weather stream there, an interactive radar, and an hour-by-hour forecast. And you can download it to your Roku, Amazon, Apple, or Android device. Well, an infant and a woman were rescued from a tragic situation yesterday. Police found 5 other people dead inside a Commerce City apartment.
It is still early in this investigation, but officials say early signs are pointing to a drug overdose. We have team coverage starting with Denver 7's Veronica Acosta, live from the apartment complex off 104th near Chambers.
Well, police are still putting together the pieces of what exactly happened here. That police tape that was up yesterday, those officers and investigators that were here, they're now gone. So let's run you through exactly what we know. We know 3 women and 2 men were found dead inside of the North Range Crossings apartment complex that's right here behind me in Commerce City. Police found those 5 adults after being called around 3:45 yesterday afternoon. Still unclear exactly what led to the death of those 5 adults, but police did say they found substances that could be described as, quote, illicit narcotics inside that unit. They said no hazardous gas was detected inside. That woman and that 4-month-old baby were also in that unit. Police did say both were okay. Commerce City Chief of Police Clint Nichols expressed how grateful he was those 2 were fine, but he also shared how tough of a situation this is going to be for that 4-month-old baby.
There are some people dead inside of an apartment and an infant lived. I hope the parents were not in there, but I've been doing this long enough. I would probably be safe to suggest that the parents probably were inside. And so for the infant, Yeah, that's going to be a long time without parents.
And it's important to point out that police did say there's no threat to the community or the public this morning. Of course, this all as that investigation continues. Coming up in the next half hour, we're talking with some neighbors about how they're feeling after this. We're live in Commerce City this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Yeah, heartbreaking how that little child is involved in this situation. Thank you, Veronica. The prosecutor, the district attorney for that community, added some context, though, with where the investigation might be headed.
Christian Lopez continues our team coverage. And Christian, the district attorney says early indications show a deadly drug overdose might be the cause.
Yeah, definitely a very tragic situation. We spoke with District Attorney Brian Mason, who represents Commerce City. He was out here on the scene last night. He says preliminary reports show that the 5 adults believed they were taking one drug, but it was actually fentanyl. Now, he says it's still too early to confirm, but early reports are indicating that this is what happened. Mason says that they do have suspicions as to what drug they believe the adults thought they were taking, but they're not releasing that right now. One thing he did say loud and clear, though, is that no drug is safe.
Folks are taking drugs thinking they're cocaine or heroin or meth, even sometimes marijuana, certainly other opioids like drugs that people think are legal. And they're laced with fentanyl. And fentanyl is a killer, and it's a quick killer. And fentanyl is way throughout our community right now. It's all throughout the United States, and it is killing people who unsuspectedly think they're taking a different kind of drug.
He says it's difficult to track where the drugs are coming from, but they are looking into it. They are treating this as a criminal investigation. And he says penalties for distribution need to increase to prevent this type of nightmare situation from happening. We are live in Commerce City this morning. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Turning now to the crisis in Ukraine. President Biden says he will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin if Russia does not invade. The announcement comes after Russia took back an earlier pledge to remove troops from the border. ABC's Faith Abube is live in Washington with the latest.
This morning, a crucial meeting anticipated between President Biden and Russia's Vladimir Putin, both leaders tentatively agreeing to the summit. Provided Russia doesn't attack Ukraine, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is expected to lay the groundwork for the summit in his meeting with his Russian counterpart Thursday. Over the weekend, heavy shelling in eastern Ukraine. Russian-backed separatists and the Kremlin lobbying unsubstantiated accusations against the Ukraine government. U.S. officials worry Russia could seize on the situation as a pretext for war. Sources tell ABC News Russian commanders have been given orders to plan to invade.
The U.S. believes that Putin has told his tactical commanders to be prepared, to move into position ready to conduct an attack. That's very different from Putin making the actual decision and saying, "You will attack."
Meanwhile, Russia is still adding more fuel to the volatile situation. The Kremlin announcing its troops that have been conducting massive drills in Belarus near Ukraine will remain. Russia has massed more than 150,000 troops on 3 sides of Ukraine. Some analysts say that number is possibly as high as 190,000. According to U.S. officials, about half of the Russian troops are now in attack positions. President Biden convening his national security team, hoping Russia will take the diplomatic option. Crippling sanctions also on the table if Russia decides to invade.
We are talking about the real possibility of war in Europe.
And overnight, in a letter to the UN, the U.S. claims it has credible information that shows Moscow is creating a list of identified Ukrainians to be killed or sent to camps following a Russian military occupation. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
In much lighter international news, Colorado's Winter Olympians are bringing back some hardware from Beijing. The games ended over the weekend. 23 Coloradans were on Team USA. That was second most on the roster behind California. 3 of them won medals. They were Brandon Frazier of Colorado Springs, who took silver in the team figure skating event. He and his partner Alex Nierum competed in the free skate and short program portions of the competition. Lakewood native Nicole Hensley picked up her second Olympic medal. She's a goalie for the women's hockey team, and they earned silver. this year after falling to Canada. Hensley didn't start in the gold medal game, but helped the U.S. to a 5-0 win over the Russian team. And Alex Ferreira of Aspen won bronze in the men's free ski halfpipe event. It's the second consecutive Olympics where he has medaled. He took silver in the same event back in 2018. Unfortunately, Colorado's Mikaela Shiffrin is returning from Beijing without a medal.
Yeah, she placed 4th in her last competition Saturday, the team slalom. The 6-time world champion had won gold and silver back in 2018. This time, the Colorado native did not finish 3 of the 5 individual events she competed in. She ended up placing 18th in downhill and 9th in Super G. Shiffrin sat down with CNN to talk about the challenges of this year's games.
Like, I failed because I was trying so hard, maybe too hard. And maybe after 12 years in ski career, I should have known how hard to push and not go over that limit. But I pushed harder because I wanted it, and that's not really an excuse. It's just, I'm going to go out again and try next time, but fewer people will be watching.
Shiffrin says while the competition did not go as planned for her, she still thinks she can win again in the future. Coming up, it's tax season. Why the BBB says you should file as soon as possible this year.
Also, thrill seekers are zooming through Colorado's backcountry, taking go-kart racing to a new level.